Okay, so this is the background, a bit, explanation about translation product research. Translation product research or translation product studies used to be old-fashioned. Many people say, "Oh, what is that? It is just a product." Okay, that's old-fashioned. Old-fashioned. Why? Because it only addresses different strategies or different techniques or different method or approaches in translating text. That's what some people say about translation as a product, or about translation product research, or product-oriented translation. And the second one, many people say that product-oriented translation is subjective. Why is it subjective? Because none of the translated text is said to fulfill the criteria of a good quality translation. And people say that a good translation can only be achieved when it is analyzed by the translator himself or herself. Okay, there is, some of the opinions from people that it is subjective. Okay, and whatever you did is an error according to another rater, according to another translator. So that the translator, a good translation can only be produced by those who analyze it. Okay, this is the old paradigm. Okay, this is the old paradigm of product-oriented translation. It used to be old-fashioned because you only quarrel with other persons, and this is very subjective. Okay, and this is very subjective. And none of the translation text is said to fulfill the criteria of good translation. But now, okay, so now it is different. Okay, now product-oriented translation or studies, studies on translation products have collaborated with other disciplines. And there are at least 3 disciplines that you can collaborate if you want to do studies on translation product research. The first one, discourse analysis. Okay, so you can collaborate your study with another discipline, that is discourse analysis, the first one. The second one is corpus linguistics, and the last one, forensic linguistics. These are 3 studies that you can collaborate if you want to do studies on product-oriented translation. Now, let's see what happens in discourse analysis and what translation. So it can cover context of culture and translation, as Pak Shahran just talked, to you just now. And also it is about power, ideology, and translation itself. Okay, these are some possible, I can say this is a cross studies. Okay, I can say there's a cross study in translation. The second one, if you want to do research by collaborating with other disciplines in terms of communicative dimension, okay, so you can study the ideolect and dialect of the translators, ideolect and dialect used in the source text, and then you can also study about genre and register analysis. The next one, you can also involve pragmatic dimension. So you can study the speech act used in the translation. You can also study the implicature in the translation. Okay, you can also study about the coherence by using the reference and diaxis used in the translation. Okay, these are some possible studies. So we have to open our mind really widely in order that we do understand that translation studies, especially those related to product, okay, do not talk only about technique, procedures, approaches, strategies. No, that's all old-fashioned. So you have to accept that translation is old-fashioned, okay, if you only talk about techniques, strategies, approaches, and so on. And the second one, this is really, new in translation studies, especially those based on the product, that is semiotic dimension or textual dimension. Okay, you can study about textuality in translation. You can study the textual metafunction in the translation. So you can study about the theme and rhyme in translation. Okay, and then you can study about cohesion in translation. Cohesion in translation is also related to how you combine or how you arrange the sentences or the clauses in the target text in terms of their cohesion. So you can analyze the cohesion, just what you do in writing studies. Okay, because when you do studies on writing, for example, you can also study about cohesion in the text. And next one, you can also study about metafunctional shift in the translation. Okay, for example, shift from process to circumstance, or shift from the participant to process. Okay, and then the shift from mood to residue, and so on. Okay, and you can also study transitivity in translation. Okay, you can study, you can compare, okay, the transitivity elements in the ST and in the TT, because you see that the focus of product-oriented translation is the product. Okay, the ST and the TT, ST and TT. So you can compare, you can analyze by comparing the transitivity elements. Okay, is there any difference? If there are some differences, you can also formulate new transitivity elements or transitivity system in the target language. Okay, the next one, you can also study about thematic or information structure in translation. You can study about thematic patterns in translation. You can also study about the thematic progression in translation. Even you can also study about the shift in thematic or in information structure of translation. The next one, you can also study about modality in translation. Okay, modality plays a very important role, but sometimes you delay it. Okay, you are not aware of the important role of modality in translation. Let's say when I say I sing a song, and then you translate saya bernyanyi, and then I can sing a song, you also translate saya bernyanyi. So these are two different meanings. Why? The first one, I show the activity of singing, but the second one, I don't show any activity of singing. I only show my ability to sing. So there are two different meanings. But sometimes other modalities, such as would, okay, you can omit, you can delay its meaning. So it is very good to study about modality. And modality does not only involve the use of models, but also the use of processes indicating modality, such as be possible, and then be able to, be capable of, and so on. And the next one, you can also study about semiotic and multimodality. Multimodality, is a hot topic nowadays. But many people focus only on discourse analysis in modality by focusing on systemic functional linguistics. Now you can combine it with translation. So you can compare, this is the advertisement in the source text, and this is the advertisement in the target text. If you study modality, you have to study not only the verbal element, but also the visual elements. So how visual and verbal elements are translated into the target language. As Pak Shahron taught you, that translation does not only involve sentences, but pictures, visual elements as well. Okay, and the next one, you can also study about appraisal and translators' attitudes. This is about evaluation. Okay, this is about evaluation. How they evaluate and how the translator shows his or her attitude in the translation. So you can see here there are a wide range of possible topics in translation if you want to do it. Okay, just don't focus only on technique, strategies, approaches, methods, procedures. Okay, there are many possible topics. Okay, yeah, these are some studies on translation related to discourse analysis. Yeah, this is mine. Okay, this is mine. Thematic progression shift in the translation of student translators. And there are also translation as rewriting, cultural theoretical appraisal of Shakespeare's, and so on. And here you are, appraisal theory in translation studies, appraisal theory in functionalism and translation evaluation. Here you are, appraisal in bilingual tourism information. Here you are investigating unfaithful translation via the appraisal theory. Okay, there's nothing to do with technique, strategies, or whatever. Okay, so yeah, just open your eyes widely, open your mind widely. There are many possible topics in translation, especially those based on the product. So now we have to say that product-oriented translation is not old-fashioned. Okay, yeah, product-oriented translation is not old-fashioned. It can be new. It depends on us how we renew it. Okay, how we renew it. Okay, yeah. Here you are, the trends in product-oriented translation studies using corpus linguistics. Using corpus linguistics. And I do believe you know some software such as, you know, Pratt. Sorry, not Pratt. There is a software that is possibly used in corpus linguistics. You know, there are three kinds of corpora. I can say corpora. Corpora is the plural form of corpus. So don't say corpuses. Yeah, don't say corpuses. There's no corpuses. Yeah, the plural form of corpus is corpora. Yeah, so you are introduced to parallel corpora, monolingual corpora, and multilingual corpora. When you study parallel corpora, it means that, yeah, you study the ST and the TT. This is what used to be done by most of translation authors or translation experts. Okay, you compare ST and TT, the corpus in ST and TT. And in terms of monolingual corpora, you study the translated text versus non-translated text in the same language. You know, non-translated text in the same language. This is the translated text, and this is non-translated text in the same language. How are the corpora in these two pieces of text? So you can compare. This is monolingual corpora. And the third one is multilingual corpora. Okay, this is a bit unique. Okay, and you can do it. You compare the TT in different languages for the same TT. For example, are you familiar with the book entitled Translation and Translating by Roger Tibel? I do believe you know it. Yeah, the book written by Roger Tibel, Translation and Translating. You know that this book has been translated into many different languages. Okay, and you can see when you want to do research on the translation of this book. So you compare, this is the source text written in English. And then you compare the one written in Turkish, the one written in Malay, the one written in Italy, the one written in Chinese, for example. You compare the 4 translation versions of the same source text. Okay, this means that what you do is multilingual corpus. Corpus, you know, you have to study about linguistic corpus. Sorry, about corpus linguistics. We study about the similar words, okay, similar lexicon, okay, and so on. So it is also possible to study in translation, especially those based on the product. Do I still have time, Ibu Eni Hayati?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, let's continue. Okay, this is also the challenge, okay, the challenge for translation authors or for translation experts or for those who want to be translation experts, translation and forensic linguistics. Okay, translation and forensic linguistics. There are many books. This is one of the books, Legal Translation Explained. Okay, there are many books talking about it. There are many previous studies talking about translation and forensic linguistics. Okay, translation and forensic linguistics is closely related to translating legal language. Okay, translating the language of law. Okay, not law, yeah, law is anti-law, but law. Okay, it is closely related to language of law. Okay, law. Yeah, so closely related to translating legal language. Okay, legal language, as you know, is used in court proceedings, in contracts, deeds, wills, police reports, and agreement. Okay, these are where you can find legal language in court proceedings, contracts, deeds, wills, police reports, and also agreement. Now, what makes translating legal texts difficult? Because different legal cultures, different languages have different legal cultures and also legal systems. Because legal systems are much influenced by the local culture, by the local environment, by the local context of population. Okay, some legal systems are applicable in certain language, but this legal system is not applicable in another different language or in another different culture. Its characteristics are developed to meet the demands of the legal system in which it is expressed or in which it is applied. Okay, it has to show the characteristics. Okay, so it must be based on the demands, or it must be based on the needs of the local society, where the law, is applicable. For example, in Indonesia, we use civil law system, but in UK, they use common law system. But don't ask me too much about the difference between civil law system and common law system, because that's not my part. Yeah. Okay. You can ask students from faculty of law. Okay. This is also another book. Okay, related to translation and forensic linguistics. Translation issue in language and law. Okay, this is very good for you if you want to read it. Okay, these are some examples. Yeah, these are some examples of articles or studies on translation in relation to forensic linguistics. Legal translators' approach to text, analysis of English, Persian, legal translation based on systemic functional grammar approach, and legal discourse, text analysis and translation strategies you see here, yeah, that if okay, you can keep the old-fashioned, for example, strategy or technique, but you also need to add another variable, Yeah, for example, like you yourself, when you are getting 20s, when you are getting 30s, for example, you're getting older. When you are getting older, you cannot be young anymore. Okay, you cannot be younger anymore. You must always be older, older, and older. What you have to do is how to re-young, okay, how to re-young or how to renew your old face. Okay, this is something old, but we can make it new. Okay, it can be done by transformation. It can be done by always interacting with younger people. Okay, this is only for example. Okay, so these are some examples. Yeah, so you can see there are some possibilities. Okay, because in translating legal system or in translating legal text, not legal system, sorry, in translating legal text, the accuracy must be 100%, because it has legal consequence. You can send people into the jail, okay, if your translation is not accurate. Okay, you can blame innocent people. Okay, you can blame innocent people if your translation is not accurate. So accuracy is absolute in legal translation. Okay, yeah, I think maybe less than 30 minutes, Ibu Eli Hayati. I think that's all. Yeah, in conclusion, that product-oriented translation is not an old-fashioned of study. Okay, it is not an old-fashioned of study. So if some of you want to do research on process, want to focus on TPR, translation process research, just go on. But if you want to decide that you want to go through the product-oriented translation, okay, just welcome. There are many possible topics that are considered new, that will contribute to novelty, that will contribute to the novelty in your studies. Because sometimes the weaknesses of students' thesis or many Indonesian writers, that their articles lack of novelty. Yeah, okay, let's do research on translation. That's all, Ibu Hayati, and ladies and gentlemen, that's all.